I see this be discussed often, but I'm not sure if there's a consensus. No siblings are Phaethon and is open about it. No siblings are Phaethon and aren't open about it. Suspect siblings are Phaethon. No siblings are proxies, but not Phaethon. Doesn't know siblings are proxies. I think it was mentioned that everyone knew independent investigators were proxies. New Iridiu just gave them a chance to work for them legally since they needed more manpower to tackle the Hollow Zero. Belle/Wise are well-known captains due to their accomplishments. So I think everyone related to Sector 6 and the HIA knows they are proxies/independent investigators. I'd put every member of Section 6 in knows siblings are proxies but not Phaethon. Jane definitely suspects the siblings are hiding something, but I don't remember her saying anything tying the siblings with proxy activities, much less to Phaethon. I don't have Yanagi, so I can't tell based on her interactions with the siblings. It was in one of the Hollow Zero audio tapes, but the independent investigators are mostly Hollow Raiders, so they probably suspect that the independent investigator captain is a Hollow Raider rather than a proxy. If you're talking about Jane, then you're mistaken. She knows that she's working with Phaethon in Hollow Zero, but she doesn't know that it's Wise/Belle, only stating that Phaethon reminds her of Wise/Belle. Uses him/her depending on the MCU. Shows. I mean, that's why she isn't open about it, lol. She teases Belle/Wise too much about it to not know. We don't know for now. Maybe she knows, maybe not. I hope in the future that be answered. For my opinion, she don't know the siblings are Phaethon just proxies. If Hoyo decides put Jane even don't know they are proxies, that'd be hilarious. Wait, when did this happen? I don't remember Phaethon being present during Jane does special mission. It's probably from character interactions, cause Jane doesn't even get to know the proxies till the end of the special mission. Specifically, the character interaction from getting Jane's trust rank Risonium in Hollow Zero. I feel like proxies and independent investigators are the same difference as pirates and corsairs, you know. Basically, there are some legitimate independent investigators. But in one of the audio tapes, there's a discussion about how they're just allowing Hollow Raiders to work for them. And the response is basically, well, yeah, but we need the manpower. While we're on the independent investigator thing, how does Belle/Wise even works on Hollow Zero? Like, sure, they're the captain, accomplished, and all that. But how do they actually do those stuffs canonically? Do they only send ES? Which means when we access the Hollow Zero panel on the outpost, are we actually contacting the other sibling at home to do the HDD work? Do we only guide the investigators from outside, which supposedly is only Phaethon-specific tech? I know during our first meeting with Sector 6, we were in ES mode, but I always found it rather weird because how come can we control ES from the outpost and expose the fact that we can communicate in real time, unless we give a really big benefit of a doubt that the military would just let Phaethon come and go freely to help with Hollow Zero. We already know Belle/Wise have a rather low or at least mediocre ether aptitude, so them actually inside the Hollow is not feasible either. Very basically connected the terminal in Hollow Zero with the HDD. She's just that good. As for how the ES stuff works, the people Belle/Wise work with who aren't in the know essentially just assume that ES is an exceptionally well-trained bangbo. Their official accomplishments are providing exceptionally good carrots and having an amazing bangbo to use those carrots. Fair point on Fairy connecting the terminal in Hertz with the HDD. However, now I'm just imagining that since we still directly controlling ES, we would just stare emptily into the screen in the outpost, and officers just scratching their head, lol. I now have this mental image of the siblings just mindlessly staring at a screen for hours on end, and all of a sudden getting up to provide very detailed and specific carrot data like it's the most obvious things in the world, leaving everyone inside the outpost utterly flabbergasted. They think that ES is just programmed by us, rather than being directly controlled. So we're sending the agent squad in with ES, and HSO thinks that they're following ES on a pre-programmed carrot made by us, which means that I was probably wrong about them suspecting us being a Hollow Raider rather than a proxy, though Sector 6 might or might not be aware of our specific role themselves. True, But even with the assumption of ES not talking / still can talk without the real operator actually speaking on the comms, the Phaethon in the outpost would still be directly controlling ES, which I assume would take over their consciousness, leaving their real body, be either frozen or just blank staring the screen, haha, unless HDD works in the way that we can just move freely in real life, and ES interface is just akin to us daydreaming / having thoughts. Though I doubt it since the visual feedback alone would be too much to handle emo. There's a trust event where you talk about proxies, and she says, I wouldn't be surprised if you're a proxy. And knowing Jane, that's just her saying, yeah, I know, so that's a very strong minimum. Edit. It was about Hollow Raiders, not about proxies, so small, oopsie, but it's very similar. It's the Howl's newsstand one. Jane is too well versed in the art of hiding shit. She knows the duo hides some shit, but she also notices they maintain really well their image, so by sheer respect for them, she won't snitch. It's false, in fact, they are absolutely terrible at hiding their true activities, like for example the massive electricity bill. I would put Qingyi firmly in knows and isn't talking about it, because she literally linked up with ES. There is a 0% chance she isn't aware. She's also like besties with Fairy too. To be fair, Fairy might just pretending to be a weak AI to fool Qingyi. Fairy is too vain for that. She needs to show she's the most advanced AI and shows off too much. But doing that might expose siblings to NEPs, which means them getting arrested and her not getting more electricity might even get her taken by government to experiment on too. Can't imagine a happy outcome. So, she might stay low while muttering, just you wait, thing. Yanagi and Jane don't know that the siblings are Phaethon. Yanagi only knows they're a proxy because they're independent investigators, and Jane technically doesn't even know that much. She just suspects that there's more to them than just the video store because they smell like secrets in her line of work. Qingyi is the only government-related member that has figured out that their identity, and nobody else remotely suspects besides Soldier 11, who might be playing dumb for the long con. We outright told Soldier 11, and she went, nah, no way. If she ever does learn we're Phaethon, she'll probably just shrug it off as, oh, I guess they weren't joking. I mean, she deliberately calls us by a random name to fuck with us. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's also acting like we're definitely not Phaethon to fuck with us. That's true. She's definitely not as uptight as she sometimes seems like she wants to be. I mean, Inky's trust events are mainly about S11 discovering her love for cats and putting in a lot of effort to get their trust, feed, and play with them properly. She'd even have adopted Inky herself if she had a static residence. She's a genuinely nice person in regards to everything except traitors, which, like her earlier more restricted demeanor, is probably a symptom of her trying way too hard to be the perfect soldier, something I don't think she'll be able to keep up forever. Still, I'm worried what will happen when she and Anby meet because they clearly have a history, and Anby is likely the reason for her extreme loyalty to the Defense Force. The spiciest ramen in history vs the strongest burger of today. Qingyi straight up knows we're Phaethon. It's even more obvious in the character story. She just doesn't take any action because she knows we have no ill will. More than not having ill will, Qingyi knows that Phaethon actively helped police investigations, be it through the Belobog incident, the impy stuff, or the wild chase. So going to get them would be effectively harmful to PubSec. She's a Fed, but she ain't an ARC. I'm sorry, but Qingyi knows whom and what the siblings are. There is simply no way on God's green earth that she doesn't know. She'd need 2 times the denseness of a romance anime protagonist, and she's proven to be quite clever already, so not dense at all. Does Yanagi know? I remember her getting suspicious at their sarcastic, law-abiding citizens comment, but that's about it. Yeah, not sure either. Did not have an interaction in mind where she was overly obvious about it. Every member of the Cunning Hares know, as do the whole of Belobog and Victoria Housekeeping. Alan definitely knows either way, as her trust events say as much. Qingyi knows 100% we are Phaethon. She chooses to remain silent on it. Jane also knows, at least, she makes it seem that way given some of her later trust dialogue and Hollow Zero encounter dialogue. Zhu Yuan knows something is up, but nothing more. S11 doesn't believe us when we straight up tell her, actually, we are Phaethon. Yanagi may have a feeling we're hiding something. It's made a point she looks at us when Wise pulls Belle away after hearing Phaethon shouted in the crowd, but nothing more. Considering how smart Jane's is, especially in terms of analyzing criminal behavior, I'd say she most likely knows something is up purely by analyzing us and our reactions. This community's inability to spill Phaethon needs to be studied. Caesar, is that you? Ellen know the siblings are Phaethon. One of the trust events, she said she liked the new proxies' username better than Phaethon. She knows because in the Ballet Twins chapter, you literally reveal yourself to the whole Victoria housekeeping teams. Ellen knows they're Phaethon. She finds out during the Ballet Twins chapter when we first meet her before we enter the building. Honestly, at this point, I'm pretty sure everyone knows and just aren't doing anything about it because we don't actually do any harm. Go one tier lower. Put Sukaku there alone. Does not know what a proxy is. Hopes it is yummy. Yanagi's Section 6 of hand is like being special agent at FBI, right? I guess she has bigger fish to cook than benign proxies. That too with Jane. She's some kinda consultant / contractor with a pubsec? Hells, she probably delights in us being Phaethon. Emo Soldier 11 and Qingyi knows. Qingyi has more fun playing mental battleships with the siblings. She has nothing to gain from explicit knowledge of Phaethon, given her position in pubsec. Her mischievous nature and hobby of trolling makes her get a kick out of occasionally spooking the siblings. Sometimes she appears outside random play and mentions talking about her conversation with Fairy, specifically mentioning that it is not confidential. At this point, I'll just assume Soldier 11 is simply playing dumb. What do you think about this? Which of the characters knows that the siblings are proxies / Phaethon? Share your opinion in the comments. Like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet.